net profit, net NPA ratio reduction. The high point was 2017-18, when scheduled commercial banks had a 5.94% of NPAs, and public sector banks had 7.97. Next year, it comes down to 3.65. Public sector banks comes down to 4.80. And subsequently, 2.81, 3.76, 2.39, 3.11, 1.67 to 2.19, and 22-23, sir, it's come down, the scheduled commercial banks' net NPA ratio as a percentage has come down to 0.95. And it has come down to 1.24 in public sector banks.
Honorable Minister.
Oh, sorry, sir. Oh, sorry, sir. They're drawing me to the temptation.
Honorable
Member Yagnik is a very senior member, a lawyer. She knows the technical terms, terminologies.
From Eastern
Write
Ford.
off and waive off. Come on. I hope the member of this House are not going to be tired of us repeatedly saying, what is a technical write-off, what is a waive-off? To go on asking this question, I'm not going to be tired to reply, but waive-off and write-off. Is this wanting a second reply? We've repeatedly said.
I would urge Johar Sarkar, a very experienced senior member, to word his question directly, pinpointed.
NPA, gross NPA to total load, is a percentage that is internationally accepted. Year-by-year comparisons are given out, and it is 1 to 1.2% on an international average. India has not come anywhere across it in the last 8 years. Would the minister, who has read so much, who has been kind enough to intervene, give us a year-by-year comparison of the IMF standard or the IMF accepted international standard of gross NPA to total load?
Okay, Mr. Sarkar,
India's. Please, sir.
I would,
please.
Honorable Minister, one second, please. Honorable Minister, may pardon my ignorance. Your minister used an expression, phone banking. What does that mean?
Which one, sir?
Phone banking.
Phone banking. Thank you, sir. That would take me back.
If you go in a little term, it's okay.
Sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Phone banking was that time when in Indian banking, people would call the banks and say, so-and-so would come to seek a loan from your bank, please grant it. Meaning, don't have to look at his eligibility or his credit ratio. You must have to give him. So, actually, sir, today when this debate is being really hot enough to talk about gross NPA, IMF standard, measuring NPA versus the gross profit of the total loans issued, and so on, the heart of the problem was when, during the 10 years of the UPA's ruling, between 2004 and 14, phones were used to ask for delivery of loan to customers who were not worthy of being given a loan. The burden fell on us to sort the Indian banks out with reforms, identifying, first of all, the 4 R's that we talk about. Prime Minister Modi sat with all of us and sat with the entire, my predecessor spent a lot of time, Sri Jaitley spent a lot of time understanding where the problem was and working together with the Reserve Bank of India. So the phone banking was the method through which the political interference spoiled all our banks and drove them to loss-making situation. Today, if enthusiasm is shown on asking questions about NPAs, it is, first of all, look at the problem which contributed to NPAs and made Indian banks actually having a twin balance sheet problem. And the twin balance sheet problem made the Indian economy come down to being a fragile economy. That fragile economy today is the fastest growing and a rate of 7.6 in the last quarter. So please, kindly do recognize these things before questions on NPAs are asked.
Shri Jairam Ramesh. the last supplementary.
Sir, thank you for giving me the opportunity,
Ask
finally,
pointedly.
for asking a supplementary. Sir, yesterday, the Honorable Finance Minister answered a question in the Lok Sabha and said that there are 2,623 willful defaulters who owe the banks 1.96 lakh crores. Now, I would like to ask the Honorable Finance Minister, what extra and special steps are being taken to deal with willful defaulters? Because a willful defaulter, by definition, is a deliberate defaulter. He is full of will to default in the first place. So I would like to ask the Honorable Finance Minister, without getting into the history, 2,623 individuals own the bank's 1.96 lakh crores. Would she consider naming and shaming them so
Honorable
that there
Minister.
is pressure on these
Honorable
defaulters?
Minister.
Sir, action is being taken on willful defaulters. My answer in the Lok Sabha is actually indicative of banks taking steps towards getting the money back from these people. Action, again, I'll just highlight the cases because that will specifically answer a question raised by the Honourable Member. As of 31/3/2023, the legal suites for recovery were filed against 13,978 accounts. Action under SARFAESI have been initiated in 11,483 cases. FIRs have been filed in 5,674 cases. Aggregate amount of 33,801 crores have been recovered till 31/3/2023. The amount recovered is 33,000. Sir, therefore, the actions, and also there was a time, I think I've answered a parliament question about cases taken up by the ED. Now, why do I bring that here specifically? The money is recovered and the money is returned to the banks themselves, subject to correction, because I'm just saying it out of my memory. More than about 13,000 crores have been given to the banks from these defaulters on whom PMLA cases have resulted in action through the Enforcement Directorate. So monies are being recovered through CBI cases, monies are being recovered through SARFAESI. So specific action through the various legal provisions are being taken, and as a result, monies are going back to the banks. Now, as on 1st December 2023, just a couple of days ago, assets amounting to 15,186.64 crores have been confiscated by the ED. I want this specifically on the record. 15,186.64 crores have been confiscated by the ED, out of which amounting to 15,183.77 crores have been restituted to the public sector banks. That amount where I said subject to correction 13,000, I stand corrected. The amount is more than 13,000. It is 15,183.77 crores which have been restituted to the banks. So the bank, the phone banking, NPA, what goes to the bank? This is the kind of constant action being taken by the CBI, ED, and the income tax and others, that money, both from the willful defaulters and from others who owe the Consolidated Fund of India, the money which has to go back through the banks or otherwise directly, are being put back. So this 15,183.77 crores is under the PMLA. Furthermore, sir, PMC Bank has recovered. I'm sure many from Maharashtra will be interested in knowing about this. PMC Bank has recovered 104.02 crores with active cooperation and support of ED. Assets amounting 692.89 crores have been confiscated under the provision of the FEOA 2018. So monies are constantly being recovered, not small amounts, huge amounts, which are going back to the public sector banks. Thank you, sir.
Question number 19, Sri Mukul Balkrishan Vasnik. Honorable Minister.
Table of the House.
Sir, supplementary.
Sri Amar Patnaik.
So it's really laudable that we are on track as far as achieving the non-renewable component in the energy consumption basket. So, but I have a worry, sir. There is a report which says that Orissa has a potential of 1.5 lakh megawatt of solar energy, much greater than the assessment made by government. In the reports, in the answers which you have been furnished by the department, this is projected at 465.23 megawatts. So if this potential is harnessed for every state, do we think that we can actually have much larger component of non-renewable sector in our energy consumption basket, in which case net zero actually becomes net positive for us. And we could actually be showing to the world that we are having a growth strategy which is much more greener than even what was anticipated world over.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, sir, what the honourable member read out was the established solar capacity in Orissa, not the potential. So the potential is much more. What is happening, Honourable Chairman, sir, is that we set up capacity through open bids. And naturally, capacity is set up where, with preference to areas where the solar insolation is the highest or the wind speeds are the highest. So therefore, I mean, the solar insolation is not the highest in Odisha. The solar insolation is higher, much higher in Rajasthan or Andhra Pradesh, etc. So the preference by developers is given to these areas. And the whole country is connected by one grid. Therefore, it makes sense to harness solar potential in those areas first, where the insolation is higher so that the cost of power is less. And Mr. Chairman, sir, as the honourable member himself noted, actually we are not only doing satisfactorily, we are doing very well. In fact, what we did was that we had pledged that by 2030 we will have 40% of our capacity coming from non-fossil fuel sources. We achieved that in 2021, that's 9 years in advance. And today, our established capacity is about 186,000 megawatts, which is about 43% of our total established capacity. The target which we have said we'll achieve by 2030, that's 50% of our established capacity, we'll achieve before that. Because right now, apart from 186 gigawatts which has been installed, I have another 114 gigawatts which is under installation. Now, if you add all these, it comes to 300 gigawatts, 300,000 megawatts. And by 2030, my total established capacity would be in the region of about 780 gigawatts. So 50% of that is in the region of about, let's say, 373 gigawatts. So I just have to add about 80 gigawatts more. We'll achieve this target well in advance.
Dr. C.M. Ramesh.
Potential at a low level, then we will be only achieving that target. But if we actually, whatever figures have been mentioned here, wind energy, solar energy, hydropower energy, if our potential is even higher, then we should actually target to actually achieve that, in which case we will have much better potential to achieve a higher growth rate, and even our fossil component can become even more.
Well, the Honourable Member can meet the Honourable Minister in his chamber. Dr. C.M. Ramesh.
As per the Minister said rightly now, to achieve the goals, every year we had to do 30 gigawatts, solar I am telling about the solar. But doing the 30 gigawatts solar, now our manufacturing solar panels in India is not matching, not even 10 gigawatts. Some of the, whatever we are manufacturing, now in the USA there is a lot of demand. Now majority of the manufacturers, they are sending to the USA, and we are not importing because of BCD 30-40% tax. Now how to achieve this, Minister has to explain now.
Honourable Minister.
One, of course, is my friend Mr. Patnaik. Our ambition is not limited to achieving 50% of our capacity. In fact, our ambition is much higher. As the Prime Minister announced, by 2030, we'll have 500,000 megawatts of established capacity coming from non-fossil fuel sources. So actually, our ambition is much higher. Now, I already have 300 gigawatts, 300,000 megawatts established. I have to establish about 200 gigawatts to get to 500 gigawatts. So we've laid down a trajectory of bidding out 50,000 megawatts every year. So that will actually take us to another about, we have 6 years left to 2030.
Thank you,
If I
Honorable
add 50 gigawatts every year, that will take me to 600 gigawatts. So I'll be ahead of that target as well. Now, the problem is about the problem which my friend Ramesh mentioned.
The House
was
will
about
meet.
availability of solar cells and modules.
The Honorable Member may interact with the Honorable Minister.
Right.
The House will meet again at 2 p.m. today.